What brand would you recommend? I mean, brand, Schlage.
Well, you can get good locks. You can get good locks on off brands. It's just you need to buy, you get what you pay for basically. And a lot of times you're paying for a name. So Schlage does make a good lock. But we have some locks that take Schlage keys and they're just as good and even better than some of the Schlages that Schlage sells and better than the Quicksets. It's just a matter of showing you the difference. And there is a big difference between these locks, which I can show you also. This is I think a grade 3, okay? And I'm going to leave this out.
How do you know when it's a grade 3 or?
They usually say it on the box.
If you're buying it new, it'll say it on the box. One of the things that pretty much we have found is that if you have exposed screws, it's probably a residential grade. If it has exposed screws, it's unlikely to accept a new cylinder. We have some samples here of what the cylinders look like in a Quickset. I can't replace this with an aftermarket cylinder. This is my aftermarket cylinder. So if you're trying to make all the keys be the same, you're going to have to replace your Quickset lock to match your Schlage keys.
Okay, what I was saying, I'm
yeah.
sorry if I interrupted you.
Go ahead.
What I was saying about the Quickset is the older Quicksets will come apart just like I did that. The newer Quickset, oh, yeah, sure, we can move this out of the way.
Heavy.
Sorry.
The newer Quicksets are made so you don't have to do anything but loosen the screws up, twist this, and the screws are still in the lock. Okay, and it makes it easier for installation, and it makes it easier to take it out. Okay, but you have to look at, and you can really look at this and tell because the screw heads will show. If you want to pass that around, the screw heads will show
screw so I don't lose that.
how they're out, and if you pass this in, they're going to be deeper because they set in so that when you loosen them, they have the turning room to, there's a cup, so to speak, in the handle that, this is a Quickset, okay? And sometimes you even have to help it along by pressing the latch to get it out, all right? And this is also a grade 3 lock. Okay, the next lock we're going to talk about is a non-exposed screw. And what it is no, wrong one.
There's one down here?
Yeah, it's no, there were 2 of them, but we can use this one. This is a non-exposed screw. You can't see the screws, okay? And rather than just take this out, there is a clip on here, and there is a clip on here. I'm going to pass it around in a little bit. All right, the clip is basically right there. And there's also a little notch in the rose, okay? And if you take a flat tip screwdriver and go to the notch in the rose, well, first off, you need to take the handle off. Sorry about that. Some locks will have a rectangular detent, is what we call it. It's a little piece of metal right in the spindle. Handle, okay? And some of them will have a little hole. I'll show you the little hole on the next lock. But if you take a piece of metal, here, I told you I'd do it with this. Try it right now. And just gently press on that detent. It will go down and your knob will pop off. Okay? And then when you come to this, you get into this. It's not on the door, so it's giving me a little trouble, but you put your screwdriver in this notch, or you can just press this little piece of wire and this will pop off, exposing the screws that you're going to need to take off of this door. And then we did have another rose. I guess I didn't put it out, so I don't know what happened to it. We can send this rose and clip around once I get the screws out of this.
Okay.
So they can see exactly what I'm talking about.
When do you use this
You can use it on your home, sure. You can use it in your business. I have a couple of these on my house. Actually, I have a keypad lock on my front door now. But this is a grade 2 lock, and if you take a look at these locks, you can see
that's the little spot. Yeah.
quality difference, weight difference.
In what parts?
I'm sorry, what?
In what parts of the lock?
If you're just feeling it,
Oh, you
comparing the two
you can
together.
look at them, and this is a grade 2 lock, okay? And these are grade 3 locks. Pass them around. You're getting a much better lock when you buy a grade 2 lock, okay? The next type of lock that we're going to take off is called a compression, and again, it's a non-exposed screw. You can't see these screws. Whoops. And on this lock, I don't know if you can see it, but we can pass it around when I get it out. There's a little hole here, not a little slot, okay? And again, underneath that hole, there's a little piece of metal, what we call a detent, and if you gently press on that, your knob will come right off, okay?
And I'm just going to emphasize gently. If you apply outward pressure while you're pressing the detent in, as soon as it's able to move, it'll begin to move. If you press too far, you can actually push the detent in so far
that
it
break
gets
it.
jammed
Or
and stuck inside the lock, and then your lock, knob lock won't stay together. So gentle is a good word to use.
Oh, and you know what? I had a box out here, and I took it up to the stage.
What?
There's a tool that comes with these locks, okay, that is sort of a curvature and a hook. And there's a little teeny hole in the side of this rose, which I'll pass around, okay? And normally you would take that hook and just loosen it up to loosen the compression.
Is it in this box?
Yeah. But we're going to do it without it. You can take something like the awl and just make sure you don't damage the rose, and it will spin off. And there again are your exposed screws to take this apart.
Bless you.
Did I hear a question? Or?
Bless you.
Oh, bless you. I'm sorry. When you're taking these off, you just take these screws off again.
Is it grade 3?
This one is a grade 2. This one is a grade 2. I don't have any grade 1s out here. Most of them come apart like this also, but they also come apart differently.
Oh my gosh.
And I like to show the difference in the weight and the structure of the lock when I'm selling one. Because they are a little bit more money, but it's a much better lock.
Wouldn't it be this point jam? You can
I'm sorry, I can't.
give it break the jam because it's a piece of wood.
Well, you can reinforce your jams. We have reinforcement kits for your complete jam. We have reinforcement kits for... Here, if you want to...
Reinforced, there's no...
Well, that's not necessarily true, but there was another thing we wanted to bring up too that we forgot, and I will get into that in a second. But this again is a grade 2 lock. And if you want, you can see the difference in the way it's built. The quick set, you were talking to me about buttons before we started, and the quick set that we sell, quick set also makes another one, it's more money. But the key from the outside will also turn the button on the inside. Okay, and it turns it, of course, no, I can't get it to turn, but it turns it both ways when you're turning the key, okay? And when it's locked, the inside's always going to be locked. You have to physically unlock it before you can get out, and then relock it either with the button or with the key. Schlage, now Kwikset does make one that will work like the Schlage I'm going to show you, but...
F-line?
Yeah, F-line. This one, you have free egress to go out, and if you shut the door, it's going to be locked if the button is locked. It's locked right now, okay? If you leave the button open, the front will be open. And again, if you turn the key one way, you'll lock it. If you turn the key the other way, you will unlock it. On most of the grade 2 locks, doesn't matter whether the door is open or closed, okay? You can put a key in there and you will open the door, okay? With this button out, you will have free egress. With this button in, you will have free egress. If you put a key in this lock, this button will not pop. It will not turn. You'll just get in because it'll draw your latch in and then it will relock. If you only put this in with a half turn and go out, it will pop and then it will make it into a passage.
Each manufacturer kind of has a different way of doing that, and I mean, we have a lot of samples there. We can talk about it. We can test it before you make a decision about the lock that you want. Another point that a customer brought up is that some of these locks have adjustable back sets and some of them are fixed. If you have a grade 2 lock, it's a fixed back set. Do we have any samples?
There was one out here, but I don't know where it went.
Okay.
Oh, here.
Okay. So a grade 2 lock or a grade 1 lock will have a fixed back set. That means you need to have done that measuring that we talked about earlier so that you know whether you need a 2 3/8 back set or a 2 3/4 back set. Now,
Most of the...
let me finish this minute.
Sure. I
Okay.
was giving you this.
When you have a solid back set like this is not what I'm measuring. Remember, I'm measuring to the center of that hole. This just clips onto the edge of this collar. Now, with something like a Kwikset or an F-line Schlage, this is going over the spindle. So instead of hooking onto the collar here,
It still hooks on the collar, but it has to go over the spindle.
it's going
to
over the
operate.
spindle. Okay?
And so will this. Although this is adjustable, it has a little arm on it to make it longer or shorter.
Right.
This
For the-
still needs to go through the center of the lock to operate.
For the most part, grade 3 locks will be adjustable because it's to make it easy for the homeowner to install their lock. They don't know what their back set is. And so when they get home with a Schlage, they can either put it in the first hole for 2 3/8 or the second hole for 2 3/4. And with the Kwikset, they have the option of just sliding these little things back, in and out. But if you do have the fixed back set, you do have to know your back set to get the proper latch.